Book name of this book is 7 Rules of Power, surprising but true advice on how to get things done and advance your career. The author of this book is Jeffrey Pfeffer, a professor of organizational behavior at Stanford University in the United States. What exactly is organizational behavior? Simply put, it is a field that specifically studies human behavior and attitudes within organizations. This field of study delves into how people behave and their attitudes in organizational settings. It doesn't just denote the authority leaders hold to command others, but encompasses the ability to get things done and influence people within an organization. It can also be referred to as workplace power. Pfeffer teaches a course at Stanford University titled The Path to Power, one of the most popular elective courses. The course revolves around why one needs workplace power and how to gain and retain it. This book can be considered a distillation of the insights from this course. Many Stanford students have mentioned that this course helped them understand the world they've been part of. However, some students enrolled out of curiosity, believing that relying solely on their skills is sufficient and expressing no interest in power. The author narrates an incident when he encountered a former student who had taken his course. The student found the course helpful in confirming that he wanted to avoid following the teachings. He decided to start an investment company with some classmates, intending to minimize the emphasis on power in the company. However, the student later faced an unfortunate situation where his partners ousted him. This incident provides 2 key reminders. Firstly, in the workplace, power is a tool for survival. Even if one intends to avoid climbing the ladder, workplace power is crucial for surviving and thriving. Secondly, power serves as a form of self-protection. Even if one doesn't want to utilize the rules of power, others might use them against you. Hence, it's essential to understand what's happening to prevent oneself from getting caught in unfavorable situations. There's a third aspect, not stemming from the story but the feedback received by those who have learned from Pfeffer's The Evolution of Power. Power is a lever for abilities. Many individuals who were initially on the fringes within organizations and possessed excellent educational backgrounds and skills were restricted by external conditions or personal characteristics such as being young, having less experience, being a minority, or having low self-esteem. This book aims to provide leverage for these outstanding individuals, allowing them to unleash their capabilities and achieve the recognition and success they deserve. This book and its teachings advocate the importance of workplace power and why it shouldn't be dismissed. Let's continue discussing how to enhance one's workplace power. As the book suggests, whether an individual fundamentally desires power or seeks to improve their influence depends on their inclinations. This book serves as a manual or guide, akin to a martial arts guidebook, offering strategies for gaining power. Yet, the manner of its application is entirely up to the individual. So, how can one enhance their workplace power? It's depicted as a process of breaking down and then building up. Let's first address what needs to be broken down. The first thing to dismantle is the imposter syndrome, a psychological term referring to individuals who harbor doubts about their abilities despite being successful and competent. They fear being exposed as frauds or imposters. People with this mindset tend to downplay their achievements and strengths when introducing themselves, emphasizing their shortcomings instead. The author contends that this behavior significantly diminishes one's power because how you view yourself inevitably influences the image you present to others. If you don't believe in your abilities or expect better outcomes, this negative signal unconsciously conveys itself to others, potentially hampering your career. To rectify this, the solution is simple. 1. Consider how you describe yourself to others. 2. Identify negative descriptions and eliminate or diminish them. 3. Accentuate your achievements and strengths deliberately. For instance, an example provided in the book involves a female student who continuously emphasized being the only woman, the youngest, and having the least experience in her team. However, the author suggested alternative perspectives, focusing on her exceptional MBA from a top business school, proficiency in quantitative analysis, and experience independently leading impactful projects. By presenting these different facets, individuals can alter how others perceive them. Suppose someone struggles with self-confidence or feels inadequate. In that case, the author proposes two solutions: compare oneself to someone in a higher position to recognize similarities and dispel the feeling of inadequacy, or employ a more direct approach by actively presenting oneself positively despite feeling uncomfortable initially. The more one practices this, the more comfortable and proficient they become at self-presentation. So, the first step towards enhancing workplace power is breaking the imposter syndrome. Now, let's address the following aspect: abandoning the obsession with winning others' favor. Some individuals are persistently anxious about others disliking them, leading them to strive excessively to earn others' approval. However, this behavior can backfire, creating an impression of insufficient capability. Research from Princeton University revealed that in numerous cultural contexts, people tend to assess others based on two dimensions: warmth and competence. Interestingly, these dimensions are considered inversely related, implying that excessive warmth might cast doubt on one's competence. Another study by Harvard Business School found that individuals who provided negative reviews were perceived as more intelligent, competent, and professional, indicating a common psychological tendency. Harvard Business Review once featured a case where a manager in a healthcare organization was promoted to oversee a team that expanded significantly in size. In his inaugural address, he openly expressed his nervousness and concern about handling the increased responsibilities, hoping for understanding and support. However, instead of endearing himself to his team, this display of vulnerability undermined his authority in their eyes. Trust was not built because the team sought a confident leader capable of steering the situation. This scenario emphasizes the importance of not revealing vulnerabilities or weaknesses in the workplace, even if you're not in a leadership position. It's crucial to avoid readily disclosing fragility or shortcomings. Additionally, the author advises against excessive apologies or hesitancy to express legitimate demands or opinions due to fear of offending others. However, this might raise concerns about whether colleagues would dislike you or how it might impact your career. Long-term research findings revealed that agreeableness negatively affects career success. It was discovered that agreeableness has a detrimental effect on the salary of all individuals, with men experiencing a more significant impact than women. This is because individuals who are overly concerned about their agreeableness may prioritize this over their career objectives, leading to missing opportunities that could advance their careers. Contrarily, the opposite of agreeableness, termed assertiveness, doesn't directly impact power advancement, according to research from the University of California, Berkeley. Assertive individuals who exhibit a self-centered approach and are less concerned about others' impacts tend to engage in more dominant and aggressive behaviors, which can boost their power and status. However, their lack of generosity and collective behavior can negatively affect their acquisition of power. Defined in the research as a lack of concern about how one's actions affect others, assertiveness highlights that worrying excessively about being liked or favored by others might not significantly influence one's career advancement. While social relationships are essential, the text emphasizes that we shouldn't let the desire to be liked override our genuine aspirations. Sacrificing one's interests and plans for winning favor might only sometimes align with pursuing what we genuinely wish to achieve. Next, let's discuss why breaking conventions can lead to power. Numerous psychological studies indicate that people subconsciously believe that only those in positions of power can defy conventions. Therefore, when an individual goes against established norms, they appear more authoritative in the eyes of others. This sense of authority acquired by breaking conventions can sometimes lead to substantial opportunities. The book shares an anecdote about a female student at Stanford University aiming to attend a high-profile dinner to expand her network. However, it was an invitation-only event, and someone with her lack of prominence would only sometimes receive an invitation. She remembered having contributed an article to Forbes magazine, so she emailed the event organizers, claiming to be a Forbes contributor without mentioning she was a student, and directly asked to attend. Surprisingly, the organizers provided her with 2 event options to choose from. Deliberately waiting 48 hours to respond, she stated that she was unavailable on Friday and could only attend on Saturday. Subsequently, she successfully gained access to the event and even brought her boyfriend, surprising the hosts, yet both were allowed in. The small actions this student took were considered unconventional for someone relatively unknown. These actions signaled a sense of power to the organizers, making them perceive her as an essential individual, ultimately granting her the desired opportunity. Moreover, breaking conventions has another advantage: it catches others off guard. This resembles a surprise attack strategy on a battlefield. Political scientist Toffler wrote a book called The Art of Political Surprise, mentioning that when the weaker party in a conflict refrains from playing by conventional rules or adopts non-traditional tactics, their chances of success increase by 29% to 64%. Adopting such surprise tactics might work in real life because the other party may not have time to consider or stop you. For instance, the renowned angel investor Jason Calacanis, author of Angel, How to Invest in Technology Startups, faced financial difficulties in college. He spontaneously approached the college dean's office without an appointment, explained his situation, and, although taken aback, the dean facilitated a well-paying part-time job for Calacanis at the business school's computer lab. By catching the dean off guard, this surprising tactic successfully helped him overcome his crisis. Scholars have explained the neurobiological mechanism behind surprise. Surprise momentarily pauses the human brain for 1/25th of a second, triggering extreme curiosity. Unexpected events command a person's attention by 12 points, satisfying their curiosity. Hence, trying something unconventional can resonate deeply by activating their sense of surprise if you want to make a lasting impression on someone. Regarding breaking conventions, the book provides various specific examples. However, it would be summarizing it in 2 sentences: boldly try things that involve no loss. If not prohibited, seek forgiveness afterward. Trying something that might result in rejection is a good idea since the worst outcome might only be a refusal. However, many people fear breaking conventions. Therefore, the author offers some advice. If adhering to existing rules leads to success, one should strive to comply with and uphold them. Yet, organizational norms often favor the rulemakers and those in advantageous positions. In such cases, why should we adhere to rules that put us at a disadvantage? If you confine yourself to social expectations and rules that work against you, you surrender to an unjust and dim future. Therefore, while the author encourages breaking all rules, there's one rule you should always follow: break the rule that restrains you from breaking conventions. Let's continue with another aspect: establishing a powerful workplace presence. Firstly, it's essential to consciously adopt a high-power posture to enhance one's authority in the workplace. A high-power posture encompasses image, body language, and verbal communication. Regarding the image, it pertains to your attire and appearance. Consider what message you want to convey through your image and dress accordingly. Alternatively, find an influential figure and mimic attire to resonate with the desired impression. Body language that exudes high power involves using more hand gestures, expansive postures while speaking, maintaining closer proximity, increased eye contact, higher volume, shorter sentences, concise expression, uninhibited laughter, and minimizing weak language like and kind of. Interestingly, timely interruptions, fewer apologies, and selectively displaying anger, among others, could amplify your influence, although they might reduce likability. Thus, choose these behaviors based on your immediate objectives. The author emphasizes effectively leveraging anger as an emotion. Study suggests that people subconsciously perceive those expressing anger as more robust and wiser, thereby radiating a greater sense of authority. When colleagues of equal status work together, someone displaying anger can exert a more decisive influence over others. For instance, General Patton practiced frowning in front of a mirror to demonstrate a high-power stance. You are moving on to the following strategy: building a solid personal brand. Why? Because, on the path to cultivating power, you must be memorable for others to choose you at critical junctures. Establishing a personal brand involves highlighting your most outstanding strengths and converting them into brand identifiers to facilitate better recall. How can you do this? Firstly, associate yourself with renowned individuals or organizations. For instance, if you're friends with a famous personality, casually mention it to others. Studies show that when someone has prominent friends, people also perceive that individual as more capable. There's a famous story about a person acquainted with Baron Rothschild who wanted a loan. Initially declined, the influential figure stated, "I will walk hand in hand with you through the stock exchange, and in no time, many will compete to lend to you." This demonstrates how a friend's status and reputation can influence others' judgment of you. Additionally, graduating from a prestigious school, working for a notable company, or participating in crucial projects can serve as brand identifiers, which is advantageous when seeking key opportunities. Each opportunity earned through these initial labels can lead to newer ones, creating a momentum termed the flywheel effect in personal brand building. Aside from brand identifiers, you also need a personal brand statement, essentially telling your story. Every individual requires an essential story for self-introduction. The book provides a basic template. Start with a few sentences describing your expertise and achievements, then intertwine these aspects with personal experiences. For instance, a brand founder named Walker started a company offering beauty care products for people of color. He often tells people about his struggles with coarse hair as a person of color, leading him to develop products specifically catering to this demographic. His story follows the typical hero's journey, facing adversity, struggling, breaking through, and achieving personal growth. Besides the fundamental self-introduction story, one needs to tell stories about their work achievements. The book refers to this as credit and hardship. For instance, Deborah Liu, the former VP of marketing at Facebook, initially believed in letting her work speak for itself and kept a low profile. However, the success of her project was noticed when she participated in an executive coaching program. This experience prompted her to change her silent approach and narrate her team's accomplishments. For instance, when initiating a new challenging project with limited resources, Liu reframed the project within a more substantial narrative, talking about tackling the monetization issue on mobile devices, garnering attention and resources for her team. Consequently, this story spread within Facebook, motivating more teams. Initially hesitant to share her story, Liu changed her perspective, seeing it as a means to highlight her team's achievements and earn the necessary recognition and resources. Many individuals may be reluctant to share their stories due to concerns about self-promotion being perceived as immodest. Liu had similar thoughts initially but later changed her stance, viewing sharing her brand story as a means to garner recognition for her team. She encouraged another woman who was hesitant to share her story by reframing the idea as not about self-promotion but as a means to let superiors and colleagues understand her role and to advocate for her team's recognition and resources. If you don't tell your story, will someone else do it? Previously, we discussed building a solid personal brand. Let's talk about the final example, establishing a broader social network. The importance of networking is evident. An effective network fosters a virtuous cycle where you gain visibility and recognition, elevating your power and status. The rise in energy and status, in turn, makes it easier to maintain relationships. Regarding effective networking, the book provides several suggestions. Firstly, it emphasizes the significance of your weak ties. Weak connections refer to casual acquaintances we encounter in our lives. Sociologists conducted a study examining the experiences of over 200 job seekers. They found that most jobs were obtained not through formal channels like submitting resumes but through informal information obtained via social connections. Many of these connections stemmed from individuals they casually knew, i.e., weak ties. The author reminds us that compared to close friends, family, and colleagues, strong connections, weak ties often have backgrounds and experiences significantly different from ours. Utilizing these weak ties may expose us to broader perspectives, information, and opportunities, potentially facilitating social mobility. Another suggestion for building a network is becoming a structural whole. A structural hole is the absence of connections between two networks, creating a void. For instance, within a company, there might be structural holes between different departments. If you can bridge two departments, you occupy that structural hole. This concept applies to departments within a company and between companies online, industries, etc. The larger the structural hole you occupy, the greater the benefits of connecting distant networks. Apart from these strategies, there are some everyday reminders. For instance, if you want someone's help, avoid vague requests. The more specific and relevant your request and reasoning, the easier for others to understand how they can assist you or provide you with valuable resources. Additionally, dedicating time each week specifically for networking and social interaction is crucial. While online contact may not match in-person interactions, it's better than no contact. Maintaining relationships and fragile ties only sometimes requires frequent or in-depth interaction. Even casually chatting about recent events, sharing interesting articles about mutual topics, or dropping a few birthday greetings in a friend's social media post can be highly effective.